I am so stressed. Well, I'm so over being stressed out. I'm so over it. I'm trying. It's so hard. It's like you have to let all your emotions exist at once. And I feel like I have to be so careful. I feel like I have to be so careful with my words and I have to be so careful with my thoughts because I don't want to put anything on myself. I don't want to curse myself. But then, being honest, I would say certain things. But I don't want to say these things because I don't like the connotation of the word. But I don't have another word. And so, to explain what I'm feeling, I would have to go in a circle around what I really want to say. But what I want to say isn't really what I want to say, it's just how I feel. And I don't want to voice that because I do think that your words have power. And so it just becomes very frustrating. It's very hard to communicate your experience when you are someone who struggles with any type of chronic illness, um, but you're also someone who does not just plan on being like a victim of the medical system. It's just like, oh, I've been diagnosed with this and that. Like, that's not how I'm living my life. Yes, I struggle with these things, but I don't live my life day to day like, oh, like being defined by this, you know? And well, I could, I haven't had the easiest go of it. I haven't had the hardest, but I haven't had the easiest. Um, but right now I'm in a moment that is so frustrating and understandable and connected, and it feels like it's avoidable, but at the other point it's something that needed to happen because I needed to get out of where I was living before because it was worsening my health. But now I have to leave where I am, and I just want a sense of stability. I just want a place. I just want a home that I feel grounded in and I feel safe in and that I can begin to build upon. And I thought I might be getting that here. And it's turning out that it might not be that. And that this was just like a space in between, a rest stop, a bridge, which is fine. It's just that I don't know where I'm going to land and when I'm going to land. And I would like to be a secure adult who makes money. So I need a job. And where I am right now, it's connected to a job. So leaving that would be leaving behind what I thought was going to be at least a year's worth of money coming in. And I feel like these are the nuances of disability and of sickness that just aren't, you wouldn't understand unless you live it. But it's completely, to me, completely clear and understandable why somebody who lives with any type of chronic illness and that could be mental or physical, it's completely understandable why it might be hard to keep a job because so much of your stability relies upon whether you're healthy or not. And if you're not healthy, everything else goes down the drain. Like, you have to prioritize your health. But then it's like, we don't live in a world where it's like that's, where there are certain countries where it's like that, but I'm not from those countries. And I am from a country where health is really protected much more than other places. And so I'm very, very grateful. But the problem is that I don't have a place to live that is healthy, And that's the thing about having a chronic something and then being poor, because you live in old apartment buildings, and old apartment buildings have a bunch of problems that create health problems, and the buildings don't do anything about it because they don't have to, or because they can't, because it's built into the walls, because it's an old building. And what are you to do? And the way rent prices are going up, I mean, and I don't want to have to rely on government funds my entire life to sustain myself. I want to be able to have a job and be able to pay for my own place and be able to be a fully independent human being. And I should be able to do that. I don't have a condition that is so debilitating that I can't make progress in my life. I'm very fortunate that way. But with the way things work, it can feel debilitating sometimes. And right now I'm just feeling very frustrated because once again I'm having to pack up and move and change plans, and I was really hoping to find something reliable and stable this time around. I thought I was doing something for myself that was gonna last. And I was really proud of the fact that I was able to get this done. I really fought for it. And I spent a lot of money and I quit my job to come here because I was doing something that I really felt was going to take me places. And I'm not saying it's not. It still is. I'm sure it still is. It's just hard being in the space right after you've received the bad news and you have to make a decision that you don't want to make. But I'm lucky because I have opportunity and I have family and I have places to go. And there are people who don't. So my heart really goes out to those people because that is a shitty life. When you don't have anyone else to lean on and you're truly just stuck and screwed. That sucks. So really, I'm actually incredibly lucky. And it's hard to complain when you put all of that into context. And then it's hard because then you just feel like you can't say anything at all because you don't want to be ungrateful. And I'm not ungrateful. I'm very grateful. I'm very aware of where I stand on the privilege line because I'm also aware of what I don't have. And so, it's hard to say anything and feel like I'm not being tone deaf. But I wonder if that's a derogatory term. If it is, I'm sorry, I didn't mean that. It's hard to complain and feel like I'm not being ignorant or obtuse to the reality of other people. But it's also hard to ever just think about myself or let myself just think about myself and be sad. Also because I do feel like I am scared that I'm going to get cursed by the universe, that they're going to hear me complaining and be like, oh, well, you don't appreciate this, even though this is happening because of this and you could have been in this situation. Well, now we're going to do this to you. I feel like I have a relationship with the universe where I feel like they're going to punish me if I do something. If I'm not just a grateful little human, which isn't a healthy relationship, I know. And I don't know if that's my relationship with God. I mean, I do feel like I've been trying to repair my relationship with God from childhood. I've always been close to God, but I've gone through seasons where I felt really departed and really kind of just betrayed and just alone. And I think that reflects in the way I behave now in terms of the anxiety I have towards my words and everything. I'm just scared that I'm speaking things into my life. But then it puts like this cap on my voice because then it's like, well, then you might as well not say anything at all if you feel like you're constantly cursing yourself with your own thoughts. But your thoughts shouldn't be that powerful. You should be able to choose what comes into reality, and you should be able to say the truth. But it's so hard when your truth is something that you don't want to be permanent if it doesn't have to. And I can't see the future, so I don't know if what I'm dealing with is something I really will deal with for the rest of my life, or if I just need to find the perfect diet and the perfect workout plan and the perfect place to live, and then I'll be okay, or I just need to hit this age and then I'll be okay. You know what I mean? So I don't want to put anything on myself. But it's hard to talk about my experience and not talk about the long range of it all. Because it's so defined by time, how much time of my life, how much of my life has been spent in this kind of energy, just fighting for my life, for my ability to live life on my own terms and not be defined by this thing, by these things. So it's really hard. And I'm wondering if I'm even making sense because I'm not giving any details. Um, but I feel like anybody who's dealt with sickness and then is also, like I said, not trying not to succumb to it, understands what I mean when I say all these things that I'm not saying. But yeah, I'm just sad right now. Sad and disappointed and trying to figure out what I'm going to do next. What job, what work am I going to do? I need to have a job. I don't like not having a job. I don't want to not have a job. I like making money. I like working. I like contributing. I like that. I want to build up my life. I want to be an adult. I don't like this way of just floating around. So I'm frustrated. I'm really frustrated. And I understand that there's probably so much more that I haven't seen yet. And I'm going to be so grateful. And I'm already grateful. I know. I already know all the nuances of how this is important and good and blah, blah, blah. But it's hard right now. I'm just in the moment where it's really hard. So.